Imagine this. You are standing in your driveway on a sunny afternoon, the gentle buzz of bees in the background, garden hose in hand, ready to give your shining new electric car its very first wash. The paintwork sparkles under the warm sunlight, reflecting blue skies and the pride of ownership. Yet, just as you begin, a nagging doubt creeps in. Could spraying water over this high-tech machine be dangerous? Is there a hidden risk? Could washing your electric car really shock you? While this may sound far-fetched, it is a real concern for a surprising number of people across the United Kingdom. Where does this anxiety come from, and how much truth is there behind it? Today, we are diving deep into the myths, science, and future of electric vehicle safety to tease apart fact from fiction, and to explore how these fears impact the road ahead for clean mobility. Let us start with a fascinating snapshot of what the public actually believes. Not long ago, a survey commissioned by the renowned car care specialist Autoglim set out to explore British drivers' attitudes toward electric vehicles, or EVs. The findings were striking. Out of 1,000 drivers polled, more than 1 in 5, meaning over 20%, said they genuinely believed washing an electric car could result in an electric shock. Even more remarkable, this fear is far from evenly distributed. Among younger drivers, especially those between the ages of 18 and 24, the anxiety soars to nearly 40%. In London's sprawling metropolis, almost half of all respondents believed the risk was real. Meanwhile, in the tranquil hills of Wales, only about 7% of drivers shared this concern. The contrast is vivid, reflecting the uneven way technological anxieties ripple through society, influenced by age, geography, and exposure to new ideas. To understand these worries, we need to turn back the clock and look at the broader history of public perception and technology. When the first internal combustion cars appeared on British roads more than 100 years ago, they were met with deep suspicion. Loud engines spooked horses, some worried about explosions, and there were widespread concerns about breathing in petrol fumes. Some newspapers in the early 20th century even ran stories warning of mysterious motor car diseases and the dangers of inhaling exhaust. Fast forward to today, and the world is once again in the midst of a transportation revolution, this time toward clean, electric mobility. The pace of change is extraordinary. Over the past 5 years, the United Kingdom has transformed its landscape, with more than 62,000 public EV charging points now installed, a dramatic 30% increase in just the last 12 months. These charging points are visible reminders of a sweeping transition found in city centers, rural villages, and motorway service stations alike. This surge is no accident. Since the year 2020, the British government has invested more than £1.3 billion to strengthen EV infrastructure. The goal is clear: to make electric vehicles accessible, practical, and attractive for everyone, no matter where they live. Major automakers like Toyota and Nissan are locked in a race to deliver solid-state batteries, with the promise of increasing EV driving range by as much as 50% before the end of this decade. Meanwhile, research from Imperial College London shows that in urban centers with high EV adoption, air pollution has dropped by as much as 60%. These are not just incremental improvements, they are profound shifts that are reshaping how we travel, where we live, and even how we think about energy and the environment. Despite all this progress, old doubts persist. Why do so many people still worry about the safety of electric vehicles, especially for something as everyday as washing them? Motoring journalist and campaigner Quentin Wilson puts it simply: getting a shock when cleaning an EV is a very old myth and completely false. Car makers rigorously test battery EVs for safety and perform special water-soak tests to make sure all high-voltage components are insulated. Consumers are always protected. Dr. Andy Palmer, a distinguished automotive engineer who has overseen the development of some of the world's safest cars, echoes this: EVs are designed with multiple redundant safety systems. The risk of electric shock is negligible under normal use. Let us break this down. Today's electric vehicles are marvels of engineering. Their high-voltage battery packs are sealed in tough, waterproof casings, typically mounted low in the chassis for stability and safety. Every electrical connection is protected by multiple layers of insulation. Before any EV leaves the factory, it is subjected to a battery of rigorous tests, water-soak procedures that simulate everything from torrential downpours to high-pressure jet washes. These are not optional extras. They are requirements set by international safety standards that every car maker must meet to be allowed to sell their vehicles. Euro NCAP, the European New Car Assessment Program, has conducted exhaustive crash and safety tests on electric vehicles for years. Again and again, the data show that EVs perform as well as, or better than, their petrol-powered cousins. Their safety ratings are among the highest in the industry. These tests do not just look at crash protection. They also examine what happens when vehicles are exposed to water, extreme temperatures, and severe impacts. The conclusion is clear. Modern EVs protect their occupants and resist electrical risks, even in the harshest conditions. So, if the science is so clear, why does the myth persist? The answer lies partly in human psychology and our response to change. Every major technological leap has triggered a wave of uncertainty. When the first elevators were installed, there were widespread fears of falling, of being trapped, or of the mysterious workings of the machinery. With the arrival of microwave ovens, rumors spread about radiation leaking into kitchens. Even the introduction of household electricity brought fears of invisible dangers. In each case, as understanding grew, the myths faded away. With electric vehicles, the pace of innovation has outstripped the pace of public education. The technology is advancing rapidly, but not everyone has had the chance to learn how it works, or why it is safe. This information gap is fertile ground for myths and rumors, especially in the age of social media, where misinformation can spread at lightning speed. Younger drivers and city dwellers, exposed to new technology more often, may paradoxically be more susceptible to certain myths, simply because they are closer to the cutting edge, but lack the depth of experience to feel confident. Conversely, in regions like Wales, where adoption is slower and traditional attitudes prevail, there may be less anxiety, either because people have not encountered the myths, or because they have seen the technology adopted gradually by friends and neighbors. But the public's anxiety is not limited to washing EVs. Other concerns abound. Fears about charging safety, stories of battery fires, worries about how far an EV can travel on a single charge, and confusion about what happens to used batteries. Each question opens the door to misunderstanding, which can be magnified by the echo chambers of online communities. What are the real risks, and how are they being managed? Let us start with the act of washing. Lee Irving, Technical Training Manager at Autoglim, provides reassurance. We know that the world of EVs can be a mystery to some, but making sure that misconceptions are rectified is extremely important, especially as we're all being encouraged to make the switch to this new form of clean mobility. While we recommend owners avoid flooding an EV's charging port with water, cleaning one is no more dangerous than cleaning a petrol or diesel-powered vehicle. Practical advice? Read your owner's manual. Always the best source for safe operation, no matter what type of car you own. When using a pressure washer, avoid spraying directly into the charging port or any exposed connectors. But this is not unique to EVs. Petrol and diesel cars have electrical systems that can be damaged if misused. Thanks to careful engineering, the risk of electric shock from washing an EV is virtually zero. In fact, it is arguably lower than the risk of damaging sensitive electronics on many modern petrol cars, which now also rely on complex computer systems and wiring. To further allay fears, let us look at some real-world examples. In Norway, where electric vehicles make up more than half of new car sales, there have been no documented cases of drivers being shocked while washing their EVs. Similarly, in the Netherlands and Germany, both leaders in EV adoption, insurance companies report no spike in claims related to electrical accidents during car washes. These countries have even taken steps to make EV maintenance and cleaning part of regular driver education, helping to normalize the technology. So what about the next set of concerns? Charging is a common source of confusion. Some worry about plugging their EV in during rain, or what happens if the charging cable gets wet. The reality is that public charging stations and home wall boxes are designed to international standards that require them to be weatherproof. Smart sensors detect faults and shut off power instantly if a problem is detected. Modern plugs are engineered so that no current flows until a secure, waterproof connection is made between the car and the charger. Another hot topic is battery fires. While stories of dramatic EV fires occasionally make headlines, the statistics tell a different story. According to research by Thatcham Research and Euro NCAP, the incidence of vehicle fires is no higher, sometimes even lower, for electric cars than for petrol or diesel vehicles. Thanks to advanced battery management systems, thermal runaway is rare, and first responders are increasingly trained to deal with EV-specific risks. The topic of battery recycling is also gaining attention. With millions of EVs set to hit the roads, what happens when their batteries reach the end of their useful life? Here, The United Kingdom is taking a global lead. By the year 2027, the country's battery recycling capacity is projected to reach 100,000 tons annually. The Faraday Institution, a leading research body, is investing £65 million in new technologies to make battery recycling safer, greener, and more efficient. Projects are underway to recover valuable materials like lithium, cobalt, and nickel, turning what was once waste into a resource for future batteries. This circular approach not only addresses environmental concerns, but also strengthens energy security by reducing reliance on imported raw materials. Zooming out to the broader landscape, the United Kingdom has set ambitious targets for electric mobility. By the year 2030, the aim is to have 300,000 public EV charging points nationwide. This will make range anxiety, a once common fear, a thing of the past. The government has already funneled billions into infrastructure, while research organizations such as the Faraday Institution are supporting breakthroughs in next-generation battery technology. But as electric vehicles become ever more integrated into everyday life, new types of risk emerge. In the early days, the focus was on making sure the car was waterproof and safe to drive in all weather. Today, the conversation is expanding to include digital safety. A recent cybersecurity audit revealed that about 15% of public charging stations had vulnerabilities that could, in theory, be exploited by hackers. The risk is not just to individual cars, but to the wider electricity grid. Imagine a scenario in which malicious actors target charging infrastructure, disrupting power, or manipulating charging schedules across entire regions. While this may sound like the plot of a thriller, experts are taking it seriously. Vehicle manufacturers are now partnering with cybersecurity firms to develop advanced encryption and authentication systems. The goal: to ensure that your electric car is safe, not just physically, but digitally as well. Dr. Andy Palmer has this to say: as EVs get smarter, cybersecurity must be part of the safety conversation. Looking ahead, the next wave of innovation is already taking shape. Bidirectional charging, sometimes called vehicle-to-grid technology, could transform how we think about cars and electricity. In the near future, your EV might not just draw power from the grid, but also return energy during peak demand. This could stabilize the energy system, lower bills for households, and accelerate the shift to renewables. But, as with all new technology, new risks come along. What happens if hackers gain access to these systems? Could they disrupt not just individual vehicles, but entire neighborhoods or cities? Researchers, engineers, and policymakers are working to build robust safeguards against such threats, setting new standards for digital security in the automotive world. At the same time, breakthroughs in battery chemistry are opening up new possibilities. Solid-state batteries, lithium-sulfur designs, and even wireless charging pads are all advancing rapidly. Solid-state batteries promise faster charging, greater range, and improved safety, while wireless charging could make topping up your car as effortless as parking it in your driveway or even at the curb. These innovations bring challenges too, from making sure different charging systems work together to addressing concerns about electromagnetic fields and public health. International standards bodies are developing guidelines to ensure safety and interoperability, so that the benefits of electric mobility can be shared by all. Beyond the technical details, there are real-world benefits that are already being felt. The cost of owning an EV, when you factor in fuel and maintenance, is now lower than that of petrol cars in the United Kingdom. In places where electric vehicles are widely adopted, air quality has improved dramatically, by as much as 60% in some urban areas. This means cleaner lungs, healthier children, and a better quality of life for millions. For anyone considering buying an electric car or already driving one, the message is simple. The technology is safer, cleaner, and more reliable than ever before. But staying informed is crucial. Myths and misinformation can linger, especially online, but knowledge is the best defense. Always consult official sources, read your owner's manual, and follow the advice of manufacturers. When using public charging stations, look for certifications and use trusted networks. And remember, washing your electric car is just as safe as washing any other vehicle, as long as you use common sense and basic precautions. For policymakers and industry leaders, the lesson is equally clear. Continued investment in infrastructure, research, and public education is essential to deepen trust and speed up the transition to clean mobility. Organizations like the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders emphasize that government incentives and public-private partnerships will be key to keeping the United Kingdom at the forefront of global electric vehicle innovation. The story does not end at the border. The challenges and opportunities of electric mobility are global. International standards for safety, charging protocols, and recycling are being developed, ensuring that lessons learned in one country can benefit drivers everywhere. The Faraday Institution's research into safer batteries and advanced recycling is already setting benchmarks for the entire industry. Looking to the future, it is clear that today's myths and fears will be replaced by new questions and challenges. Electric vehicles are not just a new type of car. They are a platform for innovation, a driver of cleaner air, and a catalyst for a smarter, more resilient society. The myth of getting an electric shock from washing your EV, a belief that once gripped nearly 1 in 5 British drivers, is steadily being debunked by science, experience, and public education. So the next time you reach for your garden hose, remember, your electric car is the product of decades of engineering, rigorous testing, and relentless commitment to safety. The real risks are rarely in the technology itself, but in the stories we tell and believe about it. As Euro NCAP crash tests have proven time and again, electric vehicles are every bit as safe, and often safer, than their petrol-powered predecessors. The future is not just electric, it is cleaner, smarter, and more resilient. If you found this deep dive into EV myths and realities enlightening, do not forget to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What other myths, breakthroughs, or burning questions about electric vehicles would you like us to tackle next? The journey to a cleaner, safer, and smarter future is just beginning,